So what were the other countries to do? Well, the other countries formed NATO, another alliance to protect themselves from what we called the Soviet Union. You attack one of us, you mess with all of us. Many of these nation-to-nation friendships, at the root, was to find some way to prevent war at best, or at worst, to survive the coming war. And this was the world that King Ahaz of Judah found himself, and also the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah comes with these great words, though, to Ahaz. This promise of God that God would protect Judah in this world full of war and violence. Now, before you start thinking pious thoughts of Ahaz, I need to tell you that this guy wasn't this wonderful, holy man of God deserving of God's promise of protection and rescue. No, Ahaz wasn't a very good guy. First of all, Ahaz had a son. He had a son, and he took his son and he sacrificed his son in fire to an idol for protection. He did many more heinous things. One thing that 2 Kings talks about is he went on a vacation to another country and he saw this idol that he thought was just magnificent. So he drew up plans for this idol and he had it FedEx back to the nation of Judah. And by the time he returned from his vacation, it had been built for him. And so he took it and he put it in the temple of the Lord. He also, let me read from 2 Chronicles 28. In his time of trouble, King Ahaz became even more unfaithful to the Lord. He offered sacrifices to the gods of Damascus who had defeated him, for he thought, since the gods of the kings of Aram have helped them, I will sacrifice to them, so they will help me. But they were his downfall, and the downfall of all Israel. Ahaz gathered together the furnishings from the temple of God and took them away. He shut the doors of the Lord's temple and set up altars at every street corner in Jerusalem. In every town in Judah he built high places to burn sacrifices to other gods and provoked the Lord. He provoked the Lord, the God of his fathers, to anger. The other events of his reign and all his ways from beginning to end are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. Ahaz rested with his fathers and was buried in the city of Jerusalem, but he was not placed in the tombs of the kings of Israel. Now, Ahaz was a pretty despicable guy, actually. I don't know, if I was God, I'd be a bit ticked at this guy. He is the king of God's people, and he's guiding them, misleading them, and murdering his own son in fire to a false idol god. I think I would enjoy just sitting back and letting him get romped by the king of Israel and the king of Aram. And imagine he'd probably get disposed of his position, if you know what I mean. I think I would love seeing that. But I guess that's why I'm not God. And I guess that's why many of us are not God. We just don't have the patience, forgiveness, mercy, and deep love for humanity that God has to even promise this despicable guy the promise of rescue from his enemies. No, today we even have trouble forgiving a man like Michael Vick, who was convicted of dogfighting and murdering dogs, sent to Leavenworth in a prison sentence, and now he's out trying to get his life straight with God and with others and with himself, and looking for a second chance. But some of us still refuse to forgive him for his heinous acts. And they were heinous, just like Ahaz. But I wonder what people today would react, how they would react to Ahaz. But Ahaz is a lesson for us. And let's not forget Ahaz. Ahaz, you think that you're beyond saving? Just look at Ahaz. Look at Ahaz. You think that God cannot forgive you of your past mistakes? Look at Ahaz. Man, you think that there's no way that God can come and rescue you from whatever problems you have? Look at Ahaz. God was ready to rescue him if Ahaz was ready to look to God for rescuing. And God is ready to rescue us all if we are willing to look to God for rescue. Sadly, Ahaz refused to look to God. And this is the rest of the story. Through Isaiah the prophet, God gives Ahaz a sign. Remember, Ahaz said, "Oh, no, I don't want a sign." And I suspect it was because Ahaz didn't want anything, any sort of reason to trust in God when he wasn't going to trust in him to begin with. But God gives Ahaz a sign. And I think it's an appropriate sign for the history of Ahaz, what Ahaz had done in his past. And that sign was a child. Do you remember that child, Ahaz, that you murdered to appease a false idol god so that that idol god would help you, but never did? Well, the real God has a sign for you. Where you sought the death of a child to save you, God has given you the life of a child to save you. Where you sought a false idol god to be with you in battle, God promises to be with us always, the God with us, Immanuel. But Ahaz couldn't trust the promise, or maybe he just wouldn't trust the promise. He instead trusted alliances and payouts. He took the silver and the gold from the temple and from the treasury of the country, and he sent it to Tiglath-Pileser III with a message saying, "I'm stuck here. I got Israel and Aram at my back door. They just started an alliance to come after you. And I thought, well, maybe you could help me out. I got nowhere else to turn, and I want to turn to you. So here's some silver and gold, and I hope to see you soon. King Ahaz." Well, Tiglath-Pileser III gladly accepted the silver and gold, and he eventually came down and destroyed the nation of Israel and the nation of Aram, took them off to captivity, and we've never heard from these people since. They have disappeared. And, well, sadly, Judah becomes a vassal state of Assyria, similar to what happened to Kazakhstan and Russia. And in a few years, Judah is conquered as well. And the people of Judah disappear into captivity.